There's tons of commemorations taking place all across Dublin City for the 1916 Rising. So I'm here at Dublin Castle to find out how they are going to commemorate the event, plus find out some history about the place too. Laura, we're starting our tour right here at this gate. So why at this point?
Well, this point here, the courtyard gate just behind me, is where the Constable O'Brien first got shot. Now, he's actually one of the first recorded fatalities during the Easter Rising, which of course would have broken out on the morning of the 24th of April in 1916. But when the rebels came up from the hill, if you can imagine just up here, it was a band of about 19 of them, and they were part of the Irish Citizen Army. 10 fellas and 9 girls made part of this rebel group that came right up to the gate here. O'Brien was shot and they managed just to retreat just slightly inside the gate here. Sean Connelly, who was the rebel leader, was actually didn't last too long, and by the next day he had been killed and he was one of the first rebel fatalities.
Wow, so this is kind of where it all started.
Pretty much. If you can imagine, Dublin Castle is the centre of that British administration. This is essentially what the Rising was fighting against. This kind of years and centuries of British rule and finally trying to get their independence.
Right, well let's go inside and have a little look.
Of course, come on in.
Right, we're here in the courtyard. So did the rebels make it this far?
Allegedly, they made it right up into the guardhouse, which is just behind us here. And they think that they actually might have made it that far because there is records of them tying up the soldiers inside. But you can still see on the outside some scrapes on the walls, and that's actually from the bayonet marks.
What's a bayonet?
So it's kind of like that little kind of metal kind of, almost like a little sword thing that kind of sits out at the end of a gun.
Oh yeah,
so one of those kind of rifles that you see.
So there's marks over here from that fight
from that
happening.
because there was 24 sentries or guards stationed in here. So they would have gone over and seen what the rebels were actually getting up to.
It must have been so scary though.
It must have been something, I don't think they really were expecting it. They knew it was going to happen because they had a tip off the rebellion was going to happen, but it was still kind of a bit of a shock for them actually to get in. They didn't get any further than that though, we know that for certain.
Awesome, okay, well let's keep on going. So we're in the James Connelly room. Why is it named after him?
Well, this whole west wing of the castle was actually turned into a Red Cross hospital, and he was actually carried on stretcher after being shot by a ricochet bullet in the shoulder in the left leg. So he was carried all the way from O'Connell Street right up in here into Dublin Castle.
Wow. So he was here while he was injured, waiting before he was brought over to Kilmainham.
Of course, he was court-martialed out trial and brought to Kilmainham jail. He was one of the last ones to be executed, and he was actually shot, tied to a chair because he couldn't stand.
Amazing.
There's a plaque actually in this room which just is dedicated to his interment at Arbor Hill and then eventual execution in Kilmainham jail on the 12th of May in 1916.
And right behind me as well, we've got a copy of the proclamation, but it's signed by someone very, very special.
This is actually a copy of an original. Just down the very left-hand corner over there, it actually has a little scribble by President Sean T. O'Kelly, which kind of means something because all of the presidents are actually inaugurated here at the castle.
We're in St. Patrick's Hall. Why is this room so important?
Well, it's quite important because this is the room where all of the presidents are sworn in, or inaugurated essentially. Just underneath our flag here, our tricolour, all 9 presidents have been sworn in. From the first one, Douglas Hyde in 1938, right up until our current president, so Michael D. Higgins, in November 2011. So it's really one of those kind of rooms that encapsulates everything the castle is now. So what happened before and then after the handover. But it's also one of those rooms where a lot of our big state visits happen.
So who else has actually been in this room?
You probably remember Queen Elizabeth II coming in 2011. We've had Bill Clinton, JFK, most recently we had Angela Merkel, and we had a lot of those dignitaries and kind of famous people would grace this room.
So how is Dublin Castle going to commemorate the Centenary?
That room that we were just in, James Connelly room, that will all be changed into an exhibition space, and that exhibition is going to be called In the Shadow of the Castle, and that's of course going to be for the 1916 Rising. And then towards the end of the year they're going to have a few surprise activities popping up towards the end of the year, so please keep an eye out on our social media, so our Facebook and Twitter page, and they'll let you know exactly what's happening to commemorate the Rising towards the end of the year when all of the excitement during Easter is over.